Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Keep it together. Welcome back to another Quickview. Today, we're doing RC four-wheel drive. We're doing the Goodyear Wrangler MTR. These were sent in. That's not accurate. These were disposed of in the Canyon's general direction. As you can see, they've got a decent amount of lug wire on them, a decent amount, because someone, we're not going to get specific, someone was in the Canyon spirit ice skating uphill. The RC4WD Drive Goodyear Wrangler MTR is in X2S3. Womp womp. The compound nobody asked for. I routinely peruse the inventory of RC four-wheel drive tires. I didn't know that the Baja MTZ came in a 4.65 because A-Main doesn't carry that particular size. You have to order it directly from RC four-wheel drive. And I keep finding tires I didn't know about. These came in. I saw the RC four-wheel drive. It said, right? But then it's X2. Okay, before I looked it up, we tried a green silicone to see how that fit. We tried these little, I think they're DJX. They're basically about the same size, right? A little dual stage. It's a little bit firmer than the green. I've also got Injora Blues. I've got full out Tim Tins. I've got 3D printed. I've got a number of options. And then after about 5 minutes of futzing, I said, what compound are these again? And I looked them up on A-Main, and they are indeed the aforementioned X2S3. At which point I said, it doesn't matter. And I got down the usual set of Canyon softs. It doesn't matter. Hold it together. I make every effort not to prejudge. You know, like, you don't know. And when I say you, I mean the royal you, which is primarily me. You don't know what a tire is going to do until you get out there and you put it on rock. These are nice and feathered in. It's a beautiful time to test a tire. What if it works? But then in the back of your head, you're like, no X2S3 tire has ever been impressive. If you were to go, you can open it in the second tab if you feel like it. If you were to go to the spreadsheet, which I like to call the database, if you were to go to the database of tire test results, you will not find a lot of X2S3 on there, because in the days predating the tire test protocol, I had purchased several RC four-wheel drive X2S3 compound tires, most notably the Milestar Patagonias that I had to use on my build of the Banana. They are not really very good. I have said that X2S3 is RC four-wheel drive's version of Proline's G8, because G8 is the compound that is basically for high grip surfaces. If you take X2SS out to the California desert, the abrasive nature of the rocks will feather the lugs right off your tires. You don't need an aggressive compound. What you need is something a bit more long wearing. And apparently, I guess there are things that just don't translate to scale. Apparently, we can't have a tire that lasts a long time and has grip to it from RC four-wheel drive, or, you know, catching strays over here, or Proline. GA will last a good long while, and as every stalwart defender of Proline will say, well, you gotta feather them in. Yes, every tire gets better when it's feathered in. That's just how that works. So, my expectations are excessively, if not unduly, moderated, because A, it's a scale tire. That is, if not a strike, that is a mark. Okay, it's a scale tire. It's an X2S3, which means if you put this right up against something like a Groundhog or a Baja Claw, it's not going to do as well as those automatically, and both of those are scale tires. Then you've got the Baja Boss thing. This is Goodyear's Baja Boss. See, we have this row of short lugs, and then we have the double row of big lugs. It's just one tire. It's not like the new J Concepts rock blocks where they make a left and a right. It's just the same tire 4 times. So you have the double bar on the outside on the passenger side, and you have the double bar on the inside on the driver's side. I've found that these asymmetrical tires, directional asymmetrics, generally across the board, performance tends to kind of suffer. I like a fully symmetric directional, a la the Canyon Trail. Right? It even has the rotation. It goes this way. So it's fully symmetrical. It's just one side is just mirrored of the other side. So when you mount that side, you just... So the face goes in from over there, the face goes in this way. The tires are doing the exact same work all the time. The inner lug and the outer lug are the same lug. And then you have non-directional, like, just throw all caution to the wind, none of it matters. Is that forward or backward? Is that forward or backward? It doesn't matter. Just slap them on. So this has never historically, all it takes me back to is the Jetco Adventurer, which was a very directional, very asymmetric tire. One side, it looked like they took 2 separate tires, cut them apart, and glued the different halves together to make something completely new and unnecessary. So, you know, we'd make efforts not to prejudge, but it's directionally asymmetric. It's X2S3, and it's a scale tire. It's got a good-looking side lug, which feels... No, it's okay. It's fine. It's kind of the worst case scenario, because the part of me with hope, it's very small. The part of me with hope hopes that it can punch above its weight, but this is a tire that lands somewhere between like a 92 and a 95. That's where this is going to end up. I'm almost sure of it. If it goes above that, I will be genuinely surprised. And I keep telling myself, don't prejudge. Don't prejudge. Prior results are not guaranteed indicators of future outcomes. I'm being illogical by thinking I know what this tire is going to do. So we'll leave it to the rocks to tell us what these tires are actually going to do. And we'll do that right now. All right, the numbers are 50, 10, 85, 95. 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, 85% relative humidity, and we would hope against all odds that the RC4WD Goodyear Wrangler MT in X2S3 compound can break a 95. I don't think it's asking too much. Come on, come on. All right. So far, so good. Here's something among a long list of things that no one can explain, which is RC4WD's pricing structure. Some of the best ones, Baja Claws, $25. Like, ooh, that's pushy. Like all of the X2S3 tires, like $30. I don't know. This is looking okay. We have to... That's pretty solid. We have to think about insert to tire relationship. It is not formed immediately. This also prevents the inclusion of at least one comment category, which is they get better as they break in. These are as broken in as they can get. Full feather on the front of the lug. This is as good as these are gonna do. You know what? It's solid. It's solidly okay. We have a chance to break that 95. Let's see right here. It's, you know, I don't know if this is even explicitly an X2S3 issue. I think this is that directional asymmetrical scale tire thing going on again. They have a nice turn in. Like they cut sharp. Yeah, I needed to see them for like I don't want to prejudge. I don't want to be like, ugh, it's X2S3. We're gonna do the same thing again. And there's gonna be a toasty one today, I tell you. Overnight low was just under 50. There's no mechanical. There's a real range of speed. There we go. It's not submissive to the will of like a real low throttle input. But you get up a little more mid-bandy. I am liking the responsiveness on the turn-in. Trying to get, okay, a little more. Yeah, you can drive to it. We are doing okay. It's those moments, right? What's gonna kill the MTR and fall into that X2S3 thing is, see if I can find that spot. Okay, good. Right, see right there? There's a good amount of side slide there. Scale tires are never particularly heavy on side lug because like side lug in 1.1 would, like big side lug would probably be borderline catastrophic. So there are some things that don't translate through scale, but I'll say the X2S3 here today is doing modestly better than anticipated. I mean, it is dead calm this morning. Not a hint of breeze of any kind. Picked up some tree to take with us. Okay, I went a little hot. I was looking at the tree. Oh, there's a couple pieces. There was one wrapped around the front axle too. You would think by the time of year that we're recording right now, you would think that the stink trees would have stopped dropping all their stuff because they're about ready to start growing back their new stuff, but it's not happening. They're still dropping stuff. Little side slide. It doesn't feel super light up front. Big transfer there. There you go. It's not doing anything, like nothing jumps out and goes, I don't do that. Sadly, it's pretty fine. It's pretty strongly okay. I want to say these are in that inexplicable category where they're like $30.99 a pair. You really have to want a tire that looks exactly like this. Even if these have a breakout moment and they do really well on some obstacle, like the competition from Proline and J Concepts and everybody else that's putting out a tire around the same price point, you really have to want a Goodyear Wrangler MTR, because that was an impressive roll. It rolled well out of frame. Because while these are not terrible, they're going to be somewhere in the middle of the pack. It just comes around to like, why? But I guess with scale tires, that's part of the thing. You're going for something specific. Otherwise, you would buy the highest performing scale tire. I keep seeing, my goodness, my gracious, the number of builds I see on Falcon Wild Peaks of one flavor or another is is mind-boggling. I don't understand. Most of the Falcon Wild Peaks, and let's take Vanquish. Well, we don't really want to talk about the R35 one. That was a decent slide back. Let's look at the Falcon Wild Peak. Like, in none of its forms is it remarkable. It is wholly unremarkable. It's kind of the bar setter for scale tire, generic scale tire. I don't get it. But by the same token, I don't get a lot of scale tires. I had said the Baja Claw, 1.9 Baja Claw, for the longest time was my favorite RC four-wheel drive tire, and I had never categorized it as a scale tire because for the longest time I didn't know it was a scale tire. I was like, that can't exist in reality, that tire looks bonkers. I would say it's probably still my favorite scale tire. Doesn't hurt that it's an X2SS. And every time we bring every time we bring one of these out here, all I can think is, what if they had molded this in X2SS? What if they had gone the hot compound? Because we've yet to meet an X2SS tire that we didn't go, yeah. Every brand should have that compound. Like J Concepts landed so hard on green. They were like, why would we have another crawler compound? We'll just make everything in green. I mean, RC4WD Drive probably, aside from J Concepts across the board, but in this segment, I think RC4WD Drive probably has more compounds than anybody. X4, X3, X2SS, X2S3, there's more. Like there are instances that occur in RC4WD Drive where I can find one tire that comes in a specific compound. Like what are you guys doing over there? I always feel like I'm forced to think cost-cutting measure. Now, if you're in a particularly high grip environment, like really high grip, the sandstone stuff, X2S3 is probably better than X2SS because X2SS is too soft. The environment will just grind the tires away. But other compounds don't get ground away and they still grab better. I don't think I can make this. Yeah, there you go. Whew. I keep forgetting about the mid throttle thing. You gotta give it a little bit more beans. And, you know, at the end of it, I don't want a tire that I have to give a ton of beans to get it to go. Not on a rock crawler. I have a couple hours manipulating baseline out here around on the rocks. My finger has got a real muscle memory to it. Yeah, I expected better right here, Wrangler. But we need too much throttle to get that maneuver in, and this is not a zone where huge amounts of throttle are rewarded. It has got a real high level of positionability for a tire with so light on the side lug. There's just something about it. Oh, I know what that thing is. It's X2S3. It is the thing that's holding it back. The thing that was holding back the 2.2 skinny Baja MTZ wasn't X2S3 in that event. It was that it was so skinny. Oh, well over skinny. The tread pattern and everything all of the parts didn't gel together. We didn't end up with a solution. Here, the problem is 100% X2S3. If these were an X2SS, they'd probably be great. In terms of a tire with minimal side lug, they are delightfully maneuverable. But if you're asking them to do really specific rock crawling tasks, they're not quite there. So questions abound. Will that helicopter turn before it gets directly over my head? I think it will. It is passing to the north. I have come to a conclusion, or an acceptance of a conclusion, which is, at this point, it is impossible for me to score any tire not tinted by the hue of some other tire. Comparison is inevitable. Near 150 tires on the database, and I'm pretty sure I've tested every compound out there currently, and they really do give you a bit of I know what to expect sort of a thing. The composition is what's always going to be a surprise. Soft side, can we? Soft side? Again, if we had the opportunity to give a bunch more throttle, we'd have it, but we can't. This is not a situation where that works. I hate to say, that was all right, that was all right, that's all right. There we go. They should do well on the bump here because we've got a tire that, okay, we've got a tire that appreciates pretty high levels of throttle, modestly high level. It's a little erratic, but it's consistent in the amount of throttle that need be applied. The outcome is not overwhelmingly consistent. We don't quite have enough chevron to it to where like, okay, that bounced right, frame right, okay, and now off to the right again. We come back about this way, center the other way. That's pretty straight. We do get that fall back. We get a little drift. That is kind of a definition of a middle ground performance on bump. Right in the middle. Not terrible, certainly not exceptional. I think it's going to do okay at this because we can put big steer angle on it, and it's receptive to big throttle inputs. So yeah, we get a good self ride out of it. It's got a nice sharp cut to it. Holds nice. Sidewall integrity. Nice. Yeah, very consistent thing. Let's try the frosty whip here. Like, I got to get in pretty deep to get it to flop over. That's nice. Okay, nope, I got to do it again. He kind of rumped in there. We bounced the tail off the obstacle. Okay. Yeah. Good. I might go so far as to say that's what the MTR is the best at. That was the most consistent performance that it's shown so far. And here at Teardrop on Surface Transition, I think we're not going to do Welsh, but we're going to do Wellish. I think this is this tire's hunting ground. Does the stuff is average or slightly below the average at full-on rock crawling. Scale stuff. I don't want to say trail stuff, so I'll say scale stuff. Because there are tires that I regard as explicitly rock crawling tires. J Concepts Megalithic, Ruptures. Going back in the day, Proline's Hammers, Chisels. Hot Body Sedona's, Rovers, tires like that, Moonlander tires, Hieroglyphics, those tires are for rock crawling. If you have a scale tire, getting a scale tire that's really good at rock crawling doesn't happen all that often. Yeah, I have no The maneuverability really kind of shines through here more. See if we can do the belly slidle here. Yeah, there's a consistency to the maneuverability. Right through the little slot. Nice, really nice. This is certainly, it was best at self-righting because there is that maneuverability to the side bite of the tire. This is what this is best at. It's just like the Proline Trepidor is a garbage rock crawling tire. It's in G8, it's pretty terrible, particularly that they made it a class 3 size, which is bonkers. But I'm here for it. 5 inches tall. You put it on FMS FJ40 and it's magical. They're fantastic. The MTR here is not as garbage as the Trepidor on rock. But if I'm building something that's going to spend more time rock crawling than doing other stuff, I'm not putting RC4WD Wrangler MTRs in X2S3 on it. And then all that remained was wet. I don't expect an earth-shattering performance. I similarly do not expect a terrible one. These have landed amid a densely populated area. And I think they're going to have a score that requires explanation because we do the pre-math minus the final here. And I have an idea. I have an idea of what's going to happen here because we have not a huge score disparity from highest to lowest, but there is certainly a score disparity between highest and lowest. It's high enough in a couple aspects that we're gonna jump up the board a little bit. Better on wet. Better on wet. Look at that. Look at that. It wants that clean surface. This is, how low can we get the throttle? Not super low. Oh, yeah. Still wants that kind of mid throttle. I would bump it a 1/10 in its wet performance versus its dry performance. Which, I mean, what are you gonna do? Nah, I don't like that. We want a little less lean. Let's get right. Yeah, I like that. And it's fun. It's fun, is what it is. It's fun when things incidentally line up. The ever popular 95.5 KLOS, the RC4WD Goodyear Wrangler MTR scores a 95.5, which ties that with the RC4WD Interco IROC, the Duratrex Fossil, Injora's Class 1 comp pin, whose carcass is too thick. The 2.2 Proline Baja Pro X in G8, the Vanquish Yokohama Geolander 1.9, the 1.9 Reefs Crux, and the 1.9 Vanquish Wild Peak. Yep. Yeah, that sounds right. I'm very much Hannibaling right now. I do love it when something I did not even plan comes together, but that is a well-deserved 95.5. It got to that 95.5 by being pretty good at wet, pretty good at mixed, which is what I think the tire really leans towards, and the self-right is tremendous. Now, you got a hard body on there and you're scaling it out. I don't know how much self-righting those folks do. I don't know. I own 2 hard bodies so far. Well, I have 2 rigs fitted with hard bodies. I own like 5 hard bodies, but maybe 6. But I have 2 of them fitted to vehicles. So I don't know. Self-righting is big for me because when I'm out here, I want to sit on the trusty old bucket chair and not move around very much because we just started the day. I have a 1,500. This video was 1,500 steps, and I covered 3/4 of a mile. So, like that, I want to move as little as possible. The MTR was a tire that it's right there, right? You will find a rig that it suits, and on another one it won't. And the ultimate problem of that whole thing is it's more expensive than most of the other tires that were listed that got the same score. Would I take the Interco IROC over these? Yeah, because it's an X2SS. The Interco IROC suffered from the swamper problem, which is it's going to be really, really choosy about what inserts work. And I don't think that the Canyon Customs were in. I think the carcass was a little too thin. It needed something different. But, you know, that's the thing. A result is a result. But, as with anything else, your results absolutely may vary. You may live somewhere where the rocks are particularly high traction, and these will shoot and zoot. But then at the same time, I'm like $31 a pair. For $31 a pair, am I looking at Goodyear Wrangler MT? Like, there's nothing offensive about their appearance. They are another scale tire amidst a sea of scale tires. So these are aimed at someone very specific that knows that they want a tire for a specific task. 95.5 is absolutely earned here and deserved. And that, I suppose, is all I have to say about that. Hey, we broke 95. That's a win for the X2S3 as far as I'm concerned. They are feathered in a lot. But, you know, we have the same traction here pretty much all the time. Excellent conditions. 50 degrees, 85% is predator weather. This is perhaps the best case showing of an X2S3 tire. But I don't know. Odds are small that I will end up testing all of them. Well, we'll see. We'll see more in the future, I'm sure. But what I also hope in that future is that we see more of you. I'm not sure, but I hope. I hope to see you all in the next one. I hope that in between now and when we meet again, you one and all do your very best to have a good one, everybody. We will see you again here from the canyon with whatever that thing is on that day. And the Goodyear Wrangler MTR. Almost right there in the middle.